Okay, I'm back in my code editor and I'm located in lecture 37, which is located in full stack-course 5 examples folder. And this is a different version of our shopping list module. In this version, we're going to use some of the UI router features that we've learned about. You can see that index.html that we're looking at right now doesn't really have much in terms of content. It just has welcome to pre-made no cookie shopping list. And then it has a bunch of scripts, AngularJS, Angular UI router, our shopping list module, which is the main module of the entire application, our routes, which is going to contain our state and URL routing, and also some shopping list component, main shopping list controller, and the shopping list service right here. This application is fairly simple. It just has one screen, the home screen, and that home screen contains a link to a main shopping list, and that main shopping list is this pre-made no cookie shopping list. In other words, we are pre-making a shopping list for our users, and it's already containing no cookies whatsoever, so our users wouldn't even be tempted to get one. Let's go ahead and take a look at the routes.js. As you can see, it's using the module.config, and this routes config sets up a couple of states. First of all, it reroutes anything that doesn't match a particular URL in any of the declared states to just a slash, and the slash is actually the home state or the home page. So the first state we're defining is the home, and it is going to be accessible through just a slash. And its template URL is sitting right here, source shopping list templates home.template.html. And we can actually take a look at that. It's a very short template. All it has is one link tag and says CR pre-made no cookie list shopping list. And it's using UISref, so the state reference, to main list. So main list better be a state that we defined inside routes.js. And in fact, it is. Right here, this is the pre-made list, and it's called the main list, and it's accessible through a URL /main list, and its template URL is pointing right here to main shopping list.template.html, and that is it right there. As you can see, it consists of this wrapper div tag, which declares our controller, main shopping list controller, and gives it a label of main list. Let's dive a little bit deeper into what this is doing, because we're going to be reusing this code in the next few lectures as we learn a little bit more about the UI router. So besides declaring a link that lets us get back to the home screen, again with the UISref home, because home is a state, it uses this shopping list component, and this is the shopping list component right here that I'm pointing to, and it's using the shopping list component to basically output our list. Let's go ahead and take a look at the shopping list component. I believe it's right here somewhere, shopping list component. And the shopping list component just passes along the items, which is the list of our shopping items, and it is pointing us to the shopping list.template.html. So if we go to shopping list.template.html, we see that we're just going to loop over the item quantity and the item name to output our list. Now, if we look at the main shopping list controller, which is what's outputting this whole list to begin with, you see that we've injected shopping list service into it, and we're using the shopping list service in order to initialize this main list.items. You'll notice that we're using a promise. The get items is clearly returning a promise, since we're using the then method, and only when the promise returns are we setting the main list.items to the result that it's returning. In other words, if we look at the shopping list service, it is done on purpose such that it's delaying the answer and not returning the actual items right away, but returning it 800 milliseconds later. So a little bit of a delay. You could see also that we predefined a whole bunch of items here. You could see that we're creating items, and items now have a description to them. And there's the sugar item, there's the flour item, there's the chocolate chips item. So there's 3 items in our shopping list. And the reason we're using a promise is because we're basically simulating a call to the server. So suppose this something was sitting in a database and we're pulling out this list out of a database. We need to make a server call. So that's what basically we're doing. We're simulating the server call. That server call comes back to our shopping list controller right here, and the main list.items gets set, which then goes to our main shopping list controller or main shopping list template, and is able to then pass the main list.items into the shopping list component that goes ahead and outputs the shopping list. So let's go ahead and making sure everything is saved. Let's go to our browser. We could see that our welcome screen is just starting with #/ which is our home state. And we could click on this see our pre-made cookie shopping list. And there's a little bit of a delay, as you could notice, before it outputs the entire list. And you can see here we're at /main list. And obviously, since the state has a URL map to it, we could go ahead and copy this URL, open it up in a different tab or really a different browser, and we'll still get exactly the same UI state as this URL is indicating, being that it is the main list that is pre-made list with absolutely no cookies in it. Okay, let's close this and let's go back to our code editor and let's go ahead and pull out this whole div because, as we said, it's a little bit superfluous. In fact, we're just going to go ahead and copy this item, which is the declaration of our controller, which we're going to reuse. So let's go ahead and actually comment out this item and comment out the last div. So this is just going to be just this as part of this template. Let's save that. Let's go back to the routes. And instead of just declaring the template, we're going to declare one more thing. There's already a comment there. We'll say controller, and we'll paste that in here. So now our controller is declared on the main list state that is associated with this particular template. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's go back to our browser, and you can see it's already working here. But if we click back and we'll click again, and there it is, it's showing up, and everything is working as it should. Okay, so let's summarize. We can declare a controller that is responsible for the state's template right in the state's declaration, not just in the template itself. In the state declaration, we can use a syntax of controller as the property of the state declaration with a string of controller as syntax, in this case, for example, CTRL name as some label, and the whole thing would be a string. Or we could use controller and reference the controller function value and also use controller as property and give it a string label that we could later use to refer to the controller in the template. In the template itself, we could use the label that we declared in the controller as syntax and then access with the dot notation the data as usual with controller as syntax that we've done before.